Howdy, Immortalium here, and welcome back to another discussion video. This time I will be discussing a topic that I was popping through the comments, and I saw actually two people recommended it. I'll be reading out both their names and their comments. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, that's a pretty interesting topic. I want to discuss that. So, the first person was Tomo55554. My question to you: why do you think there is a lack of people reading manga or resistance towards it when they are told by someone who does? Basically, first of all, I just want to say there, I don't think there's a lack of people reading manga. There's most definitely is a lack of people paying for manga, but that's a whole different discussion video in and of itself. So I kind of just want to answer the, why do people resist it when they're told, to read manga. The other person, I think it's a difficult name. Dar3A Lost Side NXT33? Something like that. I think a good topic to discuss is why some people refuse to get into manga and prefer novels. No issue preferring novels, I'd say. But to refuse to get into manga at all is kind of an issue. So, all I can do is talk about my personal experiences. I'm sure there's lots and lots of different reasons why many people refuse to get into manga. But from my own personal experience, I've talked to some people who, they know that I'm into manga. I've told them, this is a good series, that's a good series, etc. You should try it. And they're like, nah, it's manga, I don't want to get into that. And, I've asked why, and they've given me some interesting answers. So, basically, the two biggest reasons I've come across are, first of all, number one, is that they don't think manga can tell proper stories. The people that I've spoken to who have kind of given me that reason, generally they think that manga is just, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, Fairy Tail, Magi, whatever that is. And, those are like fighting action adventure series that, quite often, state very, very clearly and not very subtly how strong friendship can be, etc. And they think that's all manga is. And in fairness, those are amongst the most popular manga. So, of course, people are going to kind of assume that that's what all manga is. But to do that is a mistake. There's way more manga and genres and everything than just those series. But those are the most probably mainstream, which, of course, is going to give them the wrong impression. The second reason is that they think they're kind of put off by the very strong level of fan service in those series. Now, I'm just trying to think. I think when it comes to like Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach, there is a little bit of fan service here and there, but there isn't too much. But I remember that I spoke to a couple of people about Fairy Tail. And, this was before I'd actually seen Fairy Tail myself, so, at that point I was kind of going, oh, it might be a good series. And a lot of the people who, had, they'd been recommended by their friend to check it out, they hadn't watched much other anime or manga before that, and they watched a bit of Fairy Tail. They were kind of put off by, the sheer amount of, not necessarily breasts, there's no naked breasts in it, but, cleavage and, showing off, the curves of the woman's body, etc. And, they found that kind of not good, which, I would kind of second. I mean, I've always been of the point that fan service does have a place, but it should never really be the focus of a show. It's fan service. It's meant to be, done in small quantities. Yeah, those are the kind of two big reasons as to why many people, are kind of opposed to that. Opposed to manga, at least. I know myself that at one point, this would have been several years ago now, before I actually started my YouTube channel, or before I started reviewing, manga and doing manga videos and all that. There was a point where I was kind of doubting manga as a medium of storytelling. I believe at that point, all I had really was, a lot of shonen. I had a couple of shoujo. I might have had one seinen or two. And I was thinking to myself, I think I've seen pretty much all that manga has to offer. And then suddenly I came across Osamu Tezuka, and I saw the sheer variety of stories that he told. And then, for some reason, I don't know why, but as soon as I started researching to Tezuka, suddenly this entire kind of world of manga, beyond just the shonen action series, opened up to me. That I found out all about seinen and josei. I found out, that there was, that there's so many different genres that deal with science fiction, romance, drama, etc., etc. There's a huge amount of stories in manga. But even as someone like who was drenching themselves in manga at the beginning, that world was almost completely cut off for me. It took a while for me to actually find out that the whole world existed. So of course, people who are less passionate about manga are gonna just give up even before that. So that's something. I guess that's kind of one reason for that. Although what's interesting is I remember like around maybe a year ago, suddenly a lot more people were getting interested in kind of anime in particular, but a little bit more interested in manga as well. And there's actually kind of two series kind of responsible for that. One was Attack on Titan. Again, that's kind of it is a shonen and it's an action show, but a lot of people are very interested in the fact that, first of all, very little sexuality in it. And there was a huge amount of gore and violence. It was very dark. It didn't really push at all the friendship thing. I mean, there is a bit of friendship in it, but it's not quite as blatant as in like the other shonen series. And overall, they just found it a lot more appealing. And as soon as like the whole Attack on Titan thing came on, suddenly people were asking me, "Oh, what do you think of Attack on Titan?" And I was telling them at the time, I haven't seen the anime, but I've been reading the manga, and I think it's a pretty good series overall. So, that was something. And then the other thing that they were asking about was Legend of Korra, which is quite interesting because Legend of Korra had aired, like, I think the year before, something, the first season at least, maybe. But it wasn't until, like, like, the second season, or something like that. I did not watch Legend of Korra then because it was completely unavailable in the UK at that point, and Ireland, but they were watching online. And, they were asking me, "Oh, is Legend of Korra anime?" And I was telling them, well, no, it's actually anime-influenced animation. So, like, a studio in Korea animated Legend of Korra, and the creators of it specifically wanted to, emulate the style of anime. In particular, like, Fooly Cooly, which was a series from Gainax, had a big influence on them. But, anyway, and also I told them, actually, because around that time, the second season was airing, I think, I was telling them, oh, actually half of that season is animated by Studio Pierrot, which, they animated like Naruto, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, etc., etc. And they were pretty interested in that. So I think like Attack on Titan and Legend of Korra actually did make them a lot more receptive to, the whole like anime and manga mediums. But, like any kind of big explosion of manga and anime require multiple series to become really popular. And I personally think that while Attack on Titan certainly did do something and is continuing to, bring more attention to the manga and anime mediums, that in and of itself is not going to be, enough. There needs to be like another big hit, just like Attack on Titan, in order to kind of really push it home. And preferably something that's kind of different story too, because that would solve the first issue. So that's my personal kind of opinion on all of that, just from my own personal experiences. Now, of course, lots and lots of different people are going to have issues with it. Like, some people are going to have issues with the fact that it's a different culture. Like, I was in a store one time, and there was a child, I remember, and they looked maybe like, I don't know, 11 or 12, and they wanted to get into manga, and their mother was, trying to get them not to, purchase any of the volumes simply because it was Japanese. Which, I was kind of wondering to myself, what the hell is her problem, with Japanese? But I don't know her story, obviously. So she just had some kind of issue with Japanese products, and she didn't want her child getting into them. I don't know what it was. So, there's a variety of reasons. But the first two, the whole, the most popular stuff generally tend to be very similar, and a lot of people, if they're not going to delve too deep, think that's all anime and manga have to offer. And also the level of sexuality and fan service in anime and manga. Those two are kind of the primary things that I've personally experienced as kind of like been keeping people away from that. So yeah, that's all I can talk about on that. Particularly this topic, I would absolutely love to hear from you guys in the comments, because I mean, one of the first things people do when they find like something that they love is they try to get other people into it, and most people don't seem to have much success in converting other people into anime and manga. Like lots of people will try to do so and they'll fail. and they go online. They, you know, make friends online with people from around the world in order to be able to share their medium. So I'm really, really, really curious if, like, there's any kind of topics or reasons that people haven't gotten into anime or manga that I have, like, not personally experienced. Like, just put that in the comments below. I would love to, you know, hear that and be able to understand more reasons as to why people don't want to give this a chance. And as usual, you know, I would absolutely love for you guys to recommend me a topic. The more topics you recommend me, you know, the more variety, you know, that I'll be able to kind of look at it and go, okay, I feel like that one today. Really want you guys to, you know, just recommend me ideas if you can. If you can't, that's perfectly fine. Just comment what you feel like saying. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.